Testing. Good morning. Oh, it's still morning, I guess. Yeah. Morning, guys. Good morning, Guadalupe. Good morning, Abraham. How's everyone doing today? Morning. What's going on, Abraham? Hello, MG. Guadalupe, we just paid for your office to help my uncle master hearing June 11th. Well, we certainly will help. Thank you for your confidence in us. What is your uncle's name? I'm going to look it up. Miguel Bajonero. Let me look it up. Miguel Angel Bajanero. Oh, yeah, I see that. We actually talked to them last year. Long time ago, originally, last year. Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you all for coming back. What's going on, guys? Anybody got any questions for immigration today? Lots going on. More than likely at the master hearing, we're gonna have a reset. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at the file. Let me see. Oh, this is the 13th, 2 days ago. Now I see it. Normally, what's going to happen at a master, I mean, I'd have to look at the individual file. It's just not opened up on my end yet. The file hasn't made it to me. But basically, what will happen is we'll file our 42B cancellation, get that in the record, tell the judge that we're filing, arguing for cancellation or removal, and then start the clock on getting a work permit from that as well. Thank you for joining, guys. If you're just joining, go ahead and click a follow, click a like on the screen, and give me some love. We're just going to be live here during lunchtime. I have a little bit of time to go live. Haven't been live in a while I work. Guys, if you're just joining and you're following me, go ahead and follow my content to get announcements as we go. So Erica Gutierrez says, "Do you think my name is permanently banned? Do you mean your man? You mean man? He's been in Mexico 21 years, I'm assuming. What happened? Hello, Danny. What's up? Oh, your dad. Yeah, I mean, you guys, did you apply for him? Little Bear, I mean, 4 months is not terrible. It's a long time, obviously, but you can certainly file a mandamus. Guys, if something is in delay, you could certainly file for a mandamus to speed that up. I would not be hesitant to do that. You just have to be willing to spend the money to get that done. Lawyers basically will file inside the district that you live or where the case is pending, and then demand that there's a decision made. And normally that takes about 30 days after filing. So if you feel like it's kind of ridiculous and you're waiting, then that's certainly something you can do up the chain. Other times you can set and you can ask for an inquiry to see if you can get it sped up. But the quickest way is going to be a lawyer who's going to charge. Usually mandamuses are going to run anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000, depending on the lawyer, and then they file suit against USCIS. And then there's a USCIS lawyer. For example, in New Orleans, I know the lawyer. He works for USCIS. He is a liaison. And so you file suit against the government, and a U.S. attorney responds. And usually they respond and say, "Hey, what's the deal? Let me look into it." And they try to figure out what's the holdup. And then ultimately they'll try to get you They'll try to get you an answer in the next 30 days. Yes, if you've got an I-751 Ghislaine, if you've got an I-751 that's pending, you can certainly file for an N-400 after 5 years. So, for example, if you got a waiver pending because you guys are no longer together and so you're divorced, you can certainly file the N-400 after 5 years, and often they'll adjudicate both at the same time. I always tell people you really should do that, you really should do that. Erica, the problem is that there's no waiver for cocaine. That's the issue. And so I'd have to look at all the criminal history, but it's very difficult to be able to get that kind of case done. Yeah, that is wild. That is ridiculous, actually. You're welcome, little bear. Thank you. Danny, tell me what the I-765, what type of category it is. Thank you for joining, guys. If you're just joining, go ahead and click a follow. Oh, well, I'd have to see what it is, Danny, but man, a year is a long time. That's another reason if you're waiting for that long, you can also file mandamus. Even have a case for petty larceny that got dismissed, I can file. Technically, you can, but if that's within the last 5 years, you're gonna have an issue with good moral character, and so I would worry about that because if you have an even arrest, even with a dismissal under this administration, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, like, you wanna make sure that your record is squeaky clean, and if you've got an arrest within the last 5 years, it could be an issue on the N-400. Some lawyers will risk it like that. I say not worth the risk and just wait. Get the green card and move on. So I see your question, Jam. Nephew requested an expedite. U.S. citizen wife is sick. He is in the DR. What happened? What happened to that? Tatiana, I don't get your first part of your question. It says, what should we do? What happened when he requested an expedite request? Simply Debbie, who refused him? Oh, yeah. I mean, the problem is on an H-1B, when you work for a company, it's the company's decision, right? You don't have like a right to demand a role change. You can try, but the employer controls the petition. And if you go to a new role, you're right, the 6 months, because they've gotta transfer that role and basically have to show, that it is a new H-1B essentially, you know? Now you could switch employers. Another employer could file an H-1B for her. She doesn't have to go back through the lottery, and she could start, which is basically portability. If the company is refusing, like, internally, that's usually a red flag anyway for long-term sponsorship, so I'd wanna know about that, Is the new job the same role? Is it if she's a software engineer, for example, is she still in software engineers or totally different? Those are kinda issues that I'd wanna know, that would determine whether the employer is actually required to do anything, you know? But thank you. Tatiana, I don't know what you're asking. You said, should we, um, should we something? You're not really saying anything. You're welcome. Yeah, Danny, I have not been on live in a long time. No, Jeff, I cannot. Thank you for joining, Hustler. Thank you for joining. Welcome, Patrick. Georgiana, welcome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the hearts, Erica. Welcome, guys. Jeff, if you want to post your message again, I'll look and see. Guys, share this live. Let's see if we can get it started so I can spend time doing it. Where's your case at, Jeff? And I mean, I need to know more about it. Jeff, I can see January. How long should you wait? You have a pending consular process, but tell me more about it. No, that's the only messages that I'm seeing. Oh yeah, go ahead and send me a message. Good afternoon, guys. It's afternoon. Let's go. What if anybody has any immigration questions, you're more than welcome to ask. Tatiana, your husband got approved for what? I don't know how long the pause. Probably as long as we have this administration in effect, right? To be honest with you, as long as Donald Trump's in charge, I think that's how long the pause is going to be in effect. Yeah, 3 years. A long 3 years. Some of them are interviewing. They're telling you to go to your interview and they're just holding it. But man, I have no idea. Hopefully, once the pause is lifted, then they'll just immediately reset it. It depends on your state you're in. My love for my cat. Yes, you can renew your driver's license, but some states are not allowing those renewals to happen. Everything's going to be state dependent. If you've got a pending asylum case, and technically you're under an authorized period of stay, but you need to understand as well that people are getting detained constantly who are under with a pending asylum case. So it's going to depend on your state you're in. Yeah, but Tatiana, you said your husband got approved with USCIS, but for what? For his green card, for his naturalization, what office? It's the you're not asking enough in the question. Alejandra, good, good. Oh, you're on your way now. Wow. I wish you guys the best. Hopefully, all is well and all goes well. I'm sure you're going to be fine. Let us know. I think he got approved back in October. We haven't heard anything. I saw that, but approved for what? For green card, for legal permanent residency, or for naturalization, or what? What happened? Eden, I don't know that answer. I really don't know. I would assume that once the lift is banned, then it would probably be something that would be immediate. You applied in 2/17/25 and just received a receipt from over a year ago? Thank you for joining, guys. Yeah, it could certainly be a problem mixed. I mean, look, it's not a guarantee, but the problem with that 10-year green card is that if you're above 6 months, there's a presumption in that break in presence, especially if you're gonna file for citizenship. What's the problem with go ahead and file for citizenship now, you know? No, no updates right now. I got that question about being from Iraq, but it was over a year ago, and that's a long time for your EAD. No, I mean, are you talking about Danny? Are you talking about someone with DACA? Because there may be from with someone from DACA. Agatha, if you pass a citizenship test in N400, what's next is you become a citizen. That's it. If you passed 120 days ago, what are they saying is the delay? Yeah, they're not accepting any new applications right now, Danny. You should definitely go ahead and file that application just to keep it in. But no, they're not. They're accepting applications, but they're not adjudicating any of those. What can someone do if they lost their CRBA certificate? So basically, that's going to be through the Department of State. You want to go ahead and apply through the Department of State. If you did a little Google search, you can basically apply. I think the form is like a 5542, something like that. It's a Department of State form, like a passport form is. And then you just apply for a copy. Ramirez says, just still processing nothing. I don't know what we're talking about. I do not feel that Haitian TPS will be extended, to be honest with you. I don't. I don't think that any TPS is really going to be extended. I really don't. Thank you guys for following me. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate all the love. Go ahead and like the screen as well. But back to the birth abroad certificate. Why not just apply for a passport? That to me would be a much faster and much easier. I think a passport processing would be probably faster, and also it's going to be the best proof of citizenship. You're welcome. Delavate. Afghan citizens apply for citizenship now. Are you currently a legal permanent resident? If so, you can certainly apply for citizenship. But man, there's like, huge, significant security review. Oh, well, chosen. I mean, that's fine. You can apply back for the Department of State, but you got the passport, and that's really what counts. Let's see. We've got an interview 10 months for I-130 and 45. No update. It's normal. I got married 2 years ago. That is pretty normal. When's the interview? Or you had an interview 10 months ago. If you're saying you just got an interview, that's totally normal. Pakistani citizens are not included on a pause. You just, when you're applying for citizenship, if you're already a legal permanent resident, then you can go ahead and apply. That's how that works. Now, they're going to be much more scrutiny. There's no blanket like pause on citizenships. They're just going to be much more um, security. It's going to be take a lot longer to do the vetting and that kind of stuff because each one's going to be individualized. You're welcome, Kaz. What I Jamu, I don't understand your question. Um, with your abbreviations, you're gonna have to like explain to me more about what that. Write that out. We've been married 4 years, submitted 485 and biometrics next week. Would they need an interview? Probably so. About 99.9% of people are getting interviews. If biometrics are next week, depending on which service center you're at, we're still at a year out for an interview. Now, but I'll tell you, some of my clients who are in Texas get interviews within 2 to 3 months. Yeah, man. I think you might be surprised, Thomas. In Dallas, like I mean, at least 4 previous clients in Dallas in the last 6 months got interviews in 2, 3, 4 months. Fast, super fast. There's really no update. I mean, the processing times, technically national average are in the couple of years. I was talking to one of the US attorneys, about it, that the current processing times, national average, was like something stupid he told me. He said 51. I'm like, "That's not true." So I'm thinking he means 15 months. But yeah, current national average is about 15 months. So your deferred action, it's Eric, is that from U Visa for bona fide determination? I don't think it's any problems, Michael, to open up an out-of-state LLC as long as you use correct information and don't lie. But I don't do actual work type LLC businesses. You'd have to check with the state you're gonna ask for. A medical deferred action, well, that's a good win you got there. You just need to wait on the EAD. Oftentimes, when you get deferred action with an EAD approval, it's gonna be right around the corner. Sometimes it takes a couple of months. It is definitely still risky to travel on planes inside the United States with no status. It's not as heightened as it was a couple of weeks ago when we were like swarming with um with ICE in the airports, but man, if you don't have status, you are at risk. A lot of people don't have status and don't realize they have a removal order or something like that, or tickets or something that's going to kick up the system. We don't know if anybody at TSA or if, they're sharing that information. We don't know if you just get some angry person at TSA who tips off to ICE. So yeah, it's not worth the risk. 18 months filing, no interview yet. What to do? What do you think? I think that's pretty normal, but at the same time, like depending on how long you want to wait, you can file a mandamus. And this is what I talk about all the time. If you follow me, you can go through the videos. You can file suit against the government and tell them that you want a response. It's Sarek. I don't have that answer. Again, it's very similar to what I'm saying. You have deferred action. You were granted by medical, so technically yes, but you never know with this administration. Things are crazy. What's up, Mohammed? My live is from Louisiana in my office. B1, B2 to convert to what? Got my asylum a year ago, and my country is one of the 19 countries. I'm gonna pin that one. Got my asylum a year ago, and my country is one of the 19 countries. Is adjustment of status still paused? And the answer is yes. The memo does not bar filing the adjustment, right? You can go ahead and file, but they're not going to adjudicate it. Basically, this administration has blocked all immigration processing for people from those 19 countries, including documents to travel, green cards, adjustment, and potential naturalization. So I don't know what's going to happen. You know, we're going to have to see. No updates on the visa pause, guys. Thank you, Deline. I appreciate it. Will I possibly be detained tomorrow at biometrics? I have a permanent bar and I applied for U visa. Cynthia, that's always a possibility. I don't know where you're doing your biometrics. I'll tell you that historically over the past year in New Orleans, I have not had anyone detained at biometrics. I think it's going to be state dependent, and you got to tell me where that happened. As a citizen, please, how fast can I bring? Oh, you're in Mississippi. Where are you going for your biometrics? As a citizen, please, how fast can I bring my mom? What country is she from? Abilove. That's number one. And number two, go ahead and file. You should DM me, send me a message, and then go ahead and send me a DM. Cynthia, I would check. There's a guy there. His name is Christian Medina. I would call him. He's a local attorney in Jackson, by the way, Mississippi. And he probably could give you better advice as to what's the local practice. Pay him a consulting fee, and see what can be done. Abilove, Ghana. Yeah, let's go ahead and file. Send me a DM. You can hire us to do it. What's up, Lives Journey? It has been a long time. I need to start doing lives more. This is a question I get a lot. How many photos are good for evidence? I have thousands, but I know that would be too much. Certainly, thousands would be too much. But I think what you want to do is you probably want to get a couple of hundred. But the most important part about photos is it needs to be dated, right? For the relationship, if we're talking about an I-130, 485, or consular process or something like that. Um, Um, so certainly something that I would want to put some photos together with dates and make it very clear. So, there's no magic number on the amount, but usually anywhere from like 50 to 150. Hey, so we do that depending on if it's a true nonprofit, we do. If the attorney represented them in the thing and then they run out of money, no, that's not something that we would do. But if it's a nonprofit or something like that, yeah, I'll do it. We do local and they do the habeas. What's he from? I know, but why? At what level was he doing did he do any of it paid? 'Cause that's the question that I have. I'm like, "Man, look, no offense, but you know, if you were got paid on the original case and now you're doing the habeas pro bono, it's like, well, man, you got to pay me a little bit to be local. But what? Say, "Well, it depends." Just get him back on the phone and say, "Look, I just talked to my boss. What's the deal?" And then I'll talk to him. And then if you know how to do the call where you bring me in and you can listen, then I'll let you kind of understand what's going on. Okay. U visas are backed up still 2017, 2018. One return from checkpoint and visa canceled back in 94. Okay, I'd like to know why that happened. Came back in 95. Son is, I'm assuming you're trying to say he's a USC or is he in the National Guard. Well, you're not going to need, uh, if you're doing a, if you came back, let me see. Why were you turned back away and why was your visa canceled back in 94? That's what I'd want to know. Tina, if someone's telling the truth in someone's application for vow or whatever, um, that's not an issue. What do you mean you went too far without a permit? You're welcome, Tina. If your sister overstayed her visa and we have to renew ours, would that affect us? Your sister overstaying her visa, would that affect you applying for your visa? No. And Pierre, what are you talking about? Are you wanting to say Quilantan? You talking about a border crossing card you had, Pierre? I don't know when the lift is gonna be suspended. Look, if you came on a border so if you came, you were just waved through? Was that what you're talking about? Is that what you're trying to say, the matter of quintillion? Did you have an attorney? And has your son filed an I-130 for you? So look, this is the bottom line. I mean, if you have an attorney, then you need to talk to your attorney. If you don't, you can certainly call me, and this is something that we can help you with. You're waived in under quintillion, which is for adjustment purposes. That should be good. You should file the adjustment. If you want to play it safe, you can also file for military parole in place through your son, right? Who's in the National Guard. You're certainly eligible for that, but I don't think that's necessary because I think you were waived in. Do you have evidence of that waive in? And do you currently have an attorney? TikToker, I don't know, man. And under this current administration, no, I don't think so. I don't think that there's gonna be a path to citizenship for DACA right now under this administration. I think eventually, maybe yes, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I think, and I hate to scare people for this, but I think that they're even going after DACA. I've had a number of people who have DACA been detained. Pierre, certainly, why don't you give a call to my office? This is certainly something we can help you out. You can call now. We're open. You can call 225-478-1111 and tell them your situation that you want to apply for residency through your son and the wave through and what kind of evidence you have, if you have any. If not, we could certainly hire to start with military parole in place and those kind of things. You're not really at an issue if you don't have a deportation. If you've got a deportation, that's a little bit different. But if you only have a voluntary return, then it's you're not subject to a permanent bar for reentry because that happened pre 96. You're welcome. Give me a call 225-478-1111. You can ask for Diego or Yanni. two of my assistants that are in that section. I don't think there's going to be another amnesty, unfortunately. I just don't. I just don't. Teshabu says, "What's the worst case scenario on an EOIR? That's an immigration court case. Deportation. That's the worst case scenario. No updates on the country's ban. How can what be challenged in court? I mean, like, look, your immigration court, the EOIR is court. That's where you fight your case, and if you lose that case, then you can go to the BIA, which is the Board of Immigration Appeals, which is basically just a rubber stamp. It's terrible. And then once you lose that, which is what's happening at the BIA, then you can appeal that to the Fifth Circuit if you're in Louisiana, which is again another terrible circuit to be in. So it's pretty tough out there right now. Thank you guys for joining now. If you haven't followed me, go ahead and follow me and click a like on this live. Thank you for liking this live, guys. Keep on clicking that screen. Hey, Britt, what's happening? You wanna... Yes.
So there is a heavy expectation that they asked me the Nathaniel quote $5,000, but 25 to start in 25 and 20,
Mm-mm.
and I told him to hold off.
Yeah, no, we can't do that. We don't collect fees on habeas at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
just
what
tell him like that. It's got to be all paid up front.
okay. Oh, remember the guy from yesterday for the 5,000?
Yeah. Hold on, I'm on live.
Okay, he's here.
Okay.
With it. Okay.
Toshibu, what are you talking about? Consultant be recommended for what case? Thanks, guys. Thanks for all this. Great. Thanks for your responses. Sorry, Steve. I just been working, bud. What's the question? I don't have one question from you, Steve. Consultant fee recommended for that case, Toshibu on EOIR. I don't like it's not making sense what you're asking. Are you wanting to hire an attorney for an immigration court case? If you are, send me a DM, and this is certainly something I can help you with. All right, I'm gonna go back, Steve. I don't have one question from you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. See, it doesn't always come in, bud. I have go back. I have great thanks for your responses and nothing before that. So if you want to repeat your question here, I will answer it. Oh, it's okay, Steve. Don't worry about it. A lot of times it does that. Thank you, Kayla. I appreciate it. What is the question WA? Steve, you're saying leaving. You can just ask me the question. I mean, you could be detained. Yes, certainly. All right, guys, I'm going to go live again probably this afternoon, but I've got a meeting that I got to run into. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to DM me. And thank you for watching. Yeah.
Hey, you guys said?
Uh-huh.
It's not that important. We had that conference with Degreville, and fucking Ed Warner's been trying to get it continued again.
Based on
But-
what?
Guys, Judge, we got to look at the black box on the car. I said, Judge, you can look at the video. The car's going about 3 miles an hour, and it travels about 3 feet. Oh, Judge, we disagree. And he just